Now, the theme is going to be product, store, time, price, and channel. How do you find the right mix? If you're not 100% sure of the answer, then this insightful case study presentation on integrated merchandise planning, where Board International breaks down how the right processes and plans were implemented by Puma, Kering, H&M, and M&S to instill flexibility and efficiency in their operations. I'd like to invite John Strickland, the Business Development Lead of MEI and Emerging Markets, onto the stage. John, good morning, sir.
It's fantastic to be here, and what's interesting is I do quite a few of these presentations globally, and the future of retail is always the one that comes up. What's the future of retail look like? And I think Mina's point was quite valuable. I took my team to Bond Street to the new Adidas store. The new Adidas store on Bond Street in London does not have a till in it. And I think what Nisreen was talking about was change is a constant. You have to embrace change. So what I'm going to be talking about today is what I see when I go into retailers. This is the landscape that I normally see. I see information silos with people taking data from these information silos to manipulate it, to repopulate it back into those information silos, which ultimately leads to a disconnected strategy between finance, sales, IT, operations, and HR. So processes become misaligned, which leads to what we call Excel plastering. So too much email flying around the enterprise, which ultimately leads to multiple versions of the truth. So this is really why Board exists. So the table here, the round table, they were talking about the importance of data. Board allows you, in the decision-making platform, to draw data from any and multiple data sources. So this can be from ERPs, CRM, legacy systems, data warehouses, cloud connectors into big data, data lakes. Once it's in the Board decision-making platform, we give you insight into what has happened from a historic perspective. So you're looking in the rearview mirror, if you will. Then to Nisreen's point, with predictive analytics and machine learning to help you predict what will happen in the future. So as an integrated all-in-one platform, it's giving you that entirety of visibility across your estate. Now, I wouldn't be doing my job properly if you didn't take this slide away as the key one point. Wherever you are within your organization in retail, whether you're in strategy, whether you're in finance, whether you're in sales, merch, operations, supply chain, HR, all of this is latent and inherent in the Board architecture. Start small. Identify an area of the business where you have some pain, where you're over-reliant on manual processes, you're over-reliant on workbooks. We can get you operational in weeks, and I'll explain for why. Now let's have a look at some use cases. So the first one is Puma. This is a project that we undertook 4 years ago. They put a new chief exec in, they put a new CFO in, they put a new COO in, because they realized that they didn't have visibility across the entirety of their estate. They had 36 different trading entities, different ERPs. Each of those ERPs was on a different version. The reporting coming back up to Herzegovina in Germany was in Excel, in Word, in PowerPoint, so they couldn't get a single version of the truth. So they went to market and they chose Board as their unified platform. Because as they look at the brand ambassadors that they have, Cara Delevingne, Rihanna, Sean Paul, as their ambassadors, the centralization and standardization of processes and systems to increase sourcing volumes, just those 4 ambassadors have over 500 million followers. So if Rihanna and Cara post in a t-shirt, I have 2 teenage girls, they will want that. If that's not available, So at the end of the 4-year program, they saw an increase in revenue by 11%, an increase in profitability of 13%, and a 10% reduction in resources assigned to planning. The next project was to enhance customer satisfaction, something we're all passionate about in this room, to make the right product at the right time, delivered by the right person. So across the entirety of their estate, they've got 5,000 stores. They measure 160 KPIs across a workforce of over 120,000 people. So as they started refurloughing their staff and repurposing their staff, they broke their workforce planning down as part of their digital transformation program into 15-minute sections. So identifying what colleague needed to be where, and that led to an increase in data volumes 700-fold. So boards in-memory technology meant that data is not an issue. We are uncapped on our data volumes. The retailers that we work with, when we look at general merchandise availability for Sainsbury's, when we look at the volumes of store SKU combinations in that specific project, we execute in less than a second. And it's that data volume that chose Marks and Spencer's in the United Kingdom to identify board. The touch point of over 1 billion data points, multiple data sets and multiple data sources. They started small, like I said from the slide at the beginning. They started small in the Office of Finance for Treasury Management. They subsequently went down into a direct product profitability project. Now that direct product profitability was looking at the costs, the direct and indirect costs down at SKU level. As they clustered their stores, they were looking at promotional activity of what was effective. Clustering those stores, so then they realized that certain of their SKUs, they were not actually making any margin on. So totally led to a rebalance of their promotional activity. They subsequently tied it down into the supply chain, so they were looking at the rate of sale of those SKUs in store and tying that down into the ABC and XYZ coordinates within the warehouse. So they were getting greater margin in store, and they were getting greater efficiencies and effectiveness from the colleagues in the distribution center. And as Davide Breda, the head of finance at M&S said, even a 0.1% improvement of efficiencies and processes on a business of their scale can lead to profitability in millions of pounds. The final case study is the Kering Group. Those of you not familiar with the Kering Group, Gucci, Saint Laurent, Bottega Veneta, Alexander McQueen, and Brioni, amongst their constituents. Now, what they were looking to do was to align the strategic initiatives of their organization, to then roll with the CFO, set those high-level merchandise financial planning targets, to then integrate into detailed merchandise planning, so exquisite margin analysis. So looking at allocation, replenishment, with in-season and pre-season capabilities to ultimately drive efficiency, profitability with the reduction of markdowns. And they did that with a personalization across the entirety of their organization in a single product. So I'd just like to come back to the slide that I want you to take away. To start small. Can I just see a show of hands in the room? Who is undertaking or is in process of a digital transformation program? So a few. So what I'd like to do is do the following. With these pre-configured apps, I can sit down with each and every one of you, take your data, drop it into these appliances on the board decision-making platform and get you operational the same day. You can then configure and customize it, but you can be operational within weeks on the board decision-making platform. So if anybody is interested in a further demonstration or indeed a pilot, we have a small stand. My colleague Sanford Burley is also available to talk. My contact details are as follows. Thank you all very much for your time today.